Hey guys, it's finally cooled off a little bit here in Oregon, so I thought I'd get back to the sawmill. Some of you might remember this little contraption. It's the lap siding jig I made in my very first video on this channel. And that has over 100,000 views right now, which, if my math is correct, means my mother and as many as 38 people have seen it. What I want to do today is convert this lap siding jig into a cedar shake sawing jig. And how this is going to be different from, say, the Wood-Mizer jig is, one, you'll be able to operate it hydraulically from the saw controls, and two, instead of sawing against the grain, it's going to saw with the grain so that the saw marks will run in the direction that the water will flow. I think this will work better, but I haven't tried it yet, so let's give it a shot. I'm going to set this up to saw an 18-inch long cedar shake, and the width will be able to vary. I'll be able to saw multiple widths in the same jig at the same time, so I can have staggered shakes in my projects. So first order of business, right now this is set up for an 8-inch wide cant for cedar siding. I'm going to build a cradle that'll fit in here, and I need to know how much room I have currently from the edge of my jig to my bearing. Looks like 4 inches. I've gotten some really great comments lately about my welding ability, but I've got to give credit where it's due. I bought this Miller-Matic 211 last spring, and it is a phenomenal machine. It makes me look like a pro, and I'm running 7525 argon with it. It's a dual voltage unit. It'll run on 110 or 220, and it also has an auto set feature where you just select what kind of wire you're using, what kind of gas, the thickness of the metal, and it automatically adjusts to what the requirements need. It works very well. It's hard to outset the settings when you're using the auto set. Now what I have here is the removable cant cradle for my sawmill jig, and what I'm going to do is basically build a larger version of this that will fit in this. That way I don't have to remove this if I'm switching back and forth between cedar siding or shakes, and it'll just make it a lot easier to store and to handle. It's pretty heavy. This is 1.25 inch angle iron, so just this piece alone is pretty heavy. I've got more of this material, so that's what I'm going to make the cradle for the shakes out of. Oh no. Now I have the shake cradle sitting on top of the lap siding cradle, and I've got it positioned where I want it. So I'm going to take the little squares that I cut out of these ends, and I'm going to weld tabs so it'll lock it in place in the siding cradle where it wants to be. Always try and use the ground when you're welding. Well, it's all together and things seem to be working the way they're supposed to. The next order of business is to get some cants cut up for this. Unfortunately, my wife's at work and my mother, who's been watching my children up until now, has to go home. So that's gonna happen tomorrow, unfortunately, but stick around. I'm sure it'll be worth the wait. Thanks for watching.